She's not breathing. The scream cut through the glass-walled conference room like a blade through silk. A phone clattered against polished marble. Chairs scraped. Everyone spoke at once. At the center of the chaos, a man with a vacuum cart and no title stepped forward, his voice low and steady. "Step back. I need space." He knelt beside Callista Harrington, the blonde CEO in the red V-neck dress, her skin draining to ash. His fingers checked her airway, his palms found the rhythm, his breath measured and exact. The noise collapsed into silence. His counting anchored the room and pulled it back toward life. The morning started the way Mondays always did at Harrington Technologies. The tower pierced the San Francisco skyline like a shard of ambition, all glass and steel, and the hum of a billion-dollar heartbeat. Inside, executives moved through hallways lined with awards, their heels sharp against the floor, their schedules synced to the second. On the 37th floor, Callista Harrington stood before a wall of screens, reviewing slides for the $3 billion deal that would redefine her company and cement her legacy. She was 32, brilliant, and disciplined to the point of self-destruction. Her blonde hair fell in soft waves past her shoulders, her red dress cut to command attention without asking for it. 2 years ago, a small plane she was piloting had lost altitude over the Pacific. She survived. The panic attacks did not go away. She hid them well. The board never saw the tremor in her hands when turbulence shook a flight. Her assistant never noticed the beta blockers she doubled when presentations loomed. This morning, she took both the beta blocker and the anxiolytic her doctor had warned her not to mix. The deal was too important. Control was non-negotiable. 30 floors below, Liam Carter pushed a cleaning cart through the basement parking garage. He was 35, tall, and built like someone who had carried weight his entire life. Not physical weight, though his shoulders were broad and his hands scarred. The other kind. The kind that bent you inward. He wore a gray uniform with a name patch and no last name. His eyes held a particular stillness that unnerved some people and comforted others without them knowing why. He had been a medic once, a combat medic. He had held pressure on wounds that should have killed, had counted compressions in tents that shook with explosions, had whispered to dying soldiers that they were going home. He had been good at it. Then the field hospital took a hit. The generator failed. The oxygen module exploded. His wife and daughter, visiting during a brief ceasefire, were inside. He survived that too. The guilt did not. He left the service under a cloud labeled procedural negligence. No trial, no charges. Just a file sealed with bureaucratic finality and a discharge that made sure no hospital would hire him. So he cleaned floors. He fixed things. He stayed out of sight. In his pocket, he carried a small bracelet, scorched black, with beads too melted to read. He never wore it. He never threw it away. The conference room on the 37th floor had a nickname among the staff. They called it the panic room, not because it was reinforced or bulletproof, though it was both, because negotiations conducted there had a way of breaking people. The air conditioning had been faulty for a week. Facilities kept promising to fix it. This morning, the room was 10 degrees too warm. Oxygen levels dipped just enough to matter. Callista stood at the head of the table, flanked by her chief operating officer, Finn Rogers, a man who measured risk in spreadsheets and considered compassion a liability. Across from him sat Vivian Brooks, head of public relations, whose job was to make sure the company's image stayed spotless no matter what the truth looked like. Oliver Grant, head of security, stood by the door. He was quiet, competent, and owed Liam Carter a debt he had never spoken aloud. 2 weeks ago, Liam had stitched a gash on Oliver's forearm in the parking garage, using a first aid kit and hands that moved with the precision of a surgeon. Oliver had asked where he learned to do that. Liam said he learned in places where mistakes were measured in body bags. Callista began her presentation. 30 seconds in, her vision blurred. She blinked hard, forcing clarity. 60 seconds in, her breathing shallowed. She told herself it was the heat. 90 seconds in, her hand trembled as she gestured toward a projection. She gripped the table edge. 120 seconds in, her knees buckled. She collapsed. Her head struck the edge of a chair. Her body folded like a marionette with cut strings. Someone screamed. Finn shouted for someone to call 911. Vivian fumbled for her phone. Oliver hit the emergency lockdown. The panic room doors, 1,200 pounds of reinforced steel, slid shut with a hydraulic hiss. The room sealed. Protocol dictated they wait for the in-house medical team. Protocol did not account for the fact that Callista Harrington was not breathing. Her lips turned violet. Her chest did not rise. Finn knelt beside her. Hands hovering, useless. Vivian's voice cracked as she relayed information to the dispatcher. No one in the room knew what to do. They were executives. They solved problems with data and leverage. They had no framework for death. Liam was outside, 30 feet down the hall. He heard the crash. He heard the scream. He did not hesitate. He abandoned the cart and moved toward the sound. Past the security desk. Past the assistant who tried to stop him. Oliver saw him coming and stepped aside. The doors were locked, but the override panel was accessible. Oliver's hand hovered over it. Liam met his gaze. Oliver pressed the button. The doors parted. Liam entered the room like he was walking into a tent in Kandahar. His gaze swept the scene. He assessed in seconds. Adult female, unresponsive, cyanotic. He dropped to his knees beside her. His fingers went to her neck, checking for a carotid pulse. Nothing. He tilted her head back, opening her airway. He leaned close, watching for chest rise, listening for breath sounds. Nothing. He looked up. His voice cut through the panic like a scalpel. You in the blue shirt. Call 911 again. Tell them adult female, unresponsive. No pulse. CPR in progress. You with the glasses. Get the AED. It's on the wall by the elevator. Go. They moved. Liam interlaced his fingers, placed the heel of his hand on the center of Callista's chest, and began compressions. 100 beats per minute. 2 inches deep. He counted aloud. 1, 2, 3, 4. His shoulders stayed directly over his hands. His elbows stayed locked. He did not stop. At 30 compressions, he tilted her head, pinched her nose, sealed his mouth over hers, and gave 2 breaths. Her chest rose. He went back to compressions. The man in the glasses returned, carrying the automated external defibrillator. Liam ripped open Callista's dress at the neckline, exposing her sternum. He grabbed the AED, powered it on, peeled the pads, and placed them exactly where they needed to be. Right upper chest. Left lower ribs. The machine analyzed. Everyone held their breath. Shock advised. The AED announced. Clear, Liam said. He checked that no one was touching her. He pressed the button. Callista's body jolted. The AED beeped. Continue CPR. Liam resumed compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweat beaded on his forehead. His jaw was set. His hands did not falter. 2 minutes. The AED analyzed again. Shock advised. He delivered it. Compressions. Another 2 minutes. Analyze. No shock advised. Check. Pulse. This time, he felt it. Faint. Thready. But there, Callista coughed. Her eyes fluttered. She gasped. A ragged, desperate sound. Liam rolled her onto her side, supporting her head. She vomited. He held her steady. The room exhaled. Someone sobbed. Finn sank into a chair. Vivian's hands shook so hard. She dropped her phone. Liam stayed beside Callista, monitoring her breathing, checking her pulse every 30 seconds. Paramedics arrived 6 minutes later. They took over with brisk efficiency, loading her onto a gurney, starting an IV, fitting an oxygen mask. As they wheeled her out, her eyes opened. She looked directly at Liam. She did not speak. She did not need to. The silence that followed was louder than the panic. By the time the ambulance doors closed, the story had already begun to spread. Assistants whispered in break rooms. Security footage circulated among department heads. The janitor who saved the CEO, the man no one noticed, had just done what no one else could. Finn Rogers called an emergency meeting. Vivian Brooks drafted 3 versions of a press release, each one carefully omitting Liam's name. Oliver Grant submitted an incident report that stated, in clinical terms, that without Liam Carter's intervention, Callista Harrington would have died. At the hospital, Callista regained full consciousness 2 hours later. The first thing she said was, "Who was counting?" The nurse did not understand. Callista repeated it, her voice hoarse. Someone was counting. Who was it? The nurse checked her chart. No one had written it down. Callista closed her eyes. She remembered the voice. Low, steady, unshakable. She remembered the rhythm. She remembered being pulled back from a place that had no color and no sound. Later that evening, as she lay in a private room with monitors beeping and an IV drip in her arm, she saw him. Liam Carter. He was in the hallway, speaking to a hospital administrator, delivering the incident report Oliver had asked him to file. He wore the same gray uniform. His hands were in his pockets. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Their eyes met through the glass. For a moment, the hierarchy dissolved. She was not the CEO. He was not the janitor. She was the person who had stopped breathing. He was the person who had made her breathe again. She wanted to know who he was. Callista requested his personnel file the next morning. Human Resources sent it over. It was thin. Liam Carter, 35 years old, employed for 11 months, no prior employment listed, no references, no college, a single address, a motel on the edge of the city. The file included a copy of his military discharge, but the details were redacted. All it said was procedural negligence and honorable discharge with administrative notes. She stared at those 2 words for a long time. Procedural negligence. That phrase was a bureaucratic weapon. It destroyed careers without trials. It erased context. She had seen it used in corporate settings. Someone made a scapegoat. Someone buried the truth. She wanted to know what happened. 2 days later, back at the office, she found Oliver Grant in the parking garage. He was inspecting a delivery van. She asked him if he knew anything about Liam. Oliver hesitated. Then he pulled up his sleeve. A neat line of stitches ran along his forearm. 2 weeks ago, Oliver said. Box cutter accident. Sliced it open. I was going to drive to urgent care. Liam saw the blood. He told me to sit down. He cleaned it, numbed it, stitched it. 12 sutures, perfect spacing. I asked him where he learned that. He said he used to put people back together. I asked why he stopped. He said, because he couldn't save the ones that mattered. Callista felt something tighten in her chest. Did he say who? Oliver shook his head. He didn't have to. You could see it in his eyes. That night, Callista could not sleep. She kept seeing the moment she collapsed. The terror. the sensation of her body failing. Then the voice. Step back. I need space. She had spent 2 years trying to control everything. Her schedule, her image, her fear. In that moment, control had meant nothing. Someone else had taken it. Someone who did not want credit. Someone who had walked away before anyone could thank him. She found him the next morning, cleaning the executive gym. He did not look up when she entered. She stood there for a moment, unsure how to begin. Finally, she said, "You saved my life." He kept wiping down a treadmill. "You did that yourself." Your heart started again. I just reminded it how. That's not how it works. It's exactly how it works. She stepped closer. Where did you learn to do that? He paused. For a moment, she thought he might answer. Then he said, "Somewhere I don't talk about." She nodded. "I read your file. It doesn't say much. That's the point." She wanted to press. She wanted to demand answers. But something in his posture stopped her. He was not being evasive. He was being protective. Of himself. Of something buried too deep to touch. She changed tactics. "The company wants to give you an award, a bonus, public recognition." "No, it's $50,000. I don't want it." "Why not?" He finally looked at her. His eyes were gray, and they held a weariness that made her chest ache. "Because I didn't do it for you. I did it because I couldn't walk away. That's not heroism. That's obligation." He left before she could respond. The $3 billion deal was still on the table. The signing event was scheduled for 48 hours later. Investors from 6 countries. Media coverage. A carefully choreographed presentation designed to showcase Callista as the face of innovation and resilience. Vivian Brooks pitched the narrative. The CEO who survived came back stronger and closed the biggest deal in the company's history. Callista hated it. She hated the performance. She hated pretending the collapse had been a minor inconvenience. But she had obligations, shareholders, employees, the future of the company. She tried to prepare. She practiced breathing exercises her therapist had taught her. 4 seconds in. 4 seconds hold. 4 seconds out. 4 seconds hold. Box breathing. It helped. Slightly. The night before the signing, she went to the rooftop terrace. The city sprawled below. A grid of light and motion. She stood at the edge, hands gripping the railing, and forced herself to breathe. Smelling roses or blowing candles, she turned. Liam stood 10 feet away, holding a toolbox. He gestured toward her. "The breathing thing. You're doing it wrong. If you're trying to calm down, you need a longer exhale. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Like you're smelling roses and blowing out candles, it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system." She stared at him. "How do you know that?" "I used to talk soldiers down from panic attacks." "You learn what works." She tried it. 4 count in, 6 count out. Her heart rate slowed. She exhaled, long and controlled. "That's better." He nodded. "You'll be fine." "How do you know?" "Because you're still standing." He walked away. She stayed on the roof, breathing in and out, counting silently. Roses and candles. Roses and candles. The signing event was held in the grand ballroom. Marble floors. A stage with a podium and a table draped in white linen. Investors mingled. Journalists positioned cameras. Callista stood backstage, hands steady, breathing controlled. Finn Rogers gave her a final briefing. Vivian Brooks checked her makeup. Everything was perfect. Everything was planned. Then the lights went out. Not everywhere. Just the technical booth. Sparks flew from a junction box. Someone shouted. A young technician named Leo had been adjusting a cable. The surge hit him. He convulsed. He dropped. The lights came back on. Leo lay on the floor, eyes open, not moving. Someone screamed. Not again. Not again. Liam was in the hallway, adjusting a service panel. He heard the commotion. He ran. He shoved through the crowd, saw the technician on the floor, saw the scorch marks on his hands. He barked orders. Cut the power to that panel. Now. Someone get the AED. Move. 2 staff members ran. Liam dropped beside Leo, checked for a pulse. Nothing. He started compressions. 1, 2, 3. The AED arrived. He placed the pads. Shock advised. Clear. Shock delivered. Compressions. Another shock. Compressions. On the 3rd round, Leo gasped. His eyes focused. He coughed. Liam rolled him onto his side. Paramedics arrived. They took over. Liam stood, breathing hard, hands shaking slightly. The crowd stared. Someone had filmed it on their phone. By the time the signing ceremony resumed, the video was circulating internally. The janitor who saved 2 lives in 3 days. The calm voice in the chaos. The man. No one knew. Finn Rogers was furious. We're turning a janitor into the face of the company. This is a PR disaster. Vivian Brooks disagreed. This is a PR gift. We spin it. Harrington Technologies values every employee. We're a family. We're not doing that. Callista's voice cut through the argument. She stood in the doorway, still in her event dress, hair perfect, expression granite. We're not spinning anything. We're telling the truth. Finn blinked. What truth? That a man with no title and no recognition saved 2 lives because no one else could. That we didn't train our executives in CPR. That we didn't have enough AEDs. That we got lucky he was here. That's the truth. Vivian shook her head. Callista, with all due respect, that narrative undermines confidence in leadership. Good. Maybe it should. Callista walked out. She went looking for Liam. She found him in the parking garage, loading his cart. I need to know, she said. Why are you here? Why are you cleaning floors when you can do that? He did not turn around. Because no hospital will hire me. Why? Because someone needed a scapegoat, and I was convenient. For what? He was silent for a long time. Then he said, a generator failed. An oxygen module exploded. A field hospital in Kandahar. 15 people died. My wife and daughter were 2 of them. The contractor who supplied the equipment covered it up. They blamed me. Procedural negligence. I didn't fight it. I didn't have anything left to fight with. Callista felt the air leave her lungs. What was the contractor's name? Liam finally turned. His face was carved from stone. Damian Cross. The name hit her like a fist. Damian Cross. She knew that name. Harrington Technologies had worked with Cross Industrial Solutions on 3 contracts over the past decade. Military hardware. Defense logistics. Damian Cross was attending the signing ceremony tomorrow. He was an investor. He was in the building right now. She pulled out her phone. She called her head of compliance. I need every contract we've ever signed with Cross Industrial Solutions. I need maintenance logs, equipment tests, and communication records. I need them in 1 hour. Finn Rogers tried to stop her. Callista, we're about to close a $3 billion deal. If you start digging into a vendor now, then we dig. The records came in. Callista and Oliver Grant spent the night in her office, going through files. The pattern was clear. Cross Industrial Solutions had a history of equipment failures, generators that overheated, Oxygen modules with faulty pressure valves. After each incident, the investigations were inconclusive. Witnesses were paid off. Records disappeared. And someone always took the fall. A technician. A medic. Someone without power. Callista found the Kandahar report. The generator had been installed by Cross Industrial. The oxygen module had been manufactured by a subsidiary. The test logs were missing. The investigative file had been sealed. And the name on the discharge paperwork was Liam Carter. She sat back. She felt sick. We worked with him. Oliver nodded. 3 contracts. $27 million. We funded this. You didn't know. That doesn't matter. The signing ceremony was scheduled for noon. Damian Cross arrived at 11. He was 40, tall and gaunt, with a sharp face and pale skin. His hair was blonde, slicked back. His eyes were gray and cold. He wore a silver-gray suit and a diamond watch that caught the light. He moved through the room like he owned it. Callista watched him from across the ballroom. He saw her. He smiled. It did not reach his eyes. She walked over. Mr. Cross. Miss Harrington, congratulations. I hear you've had quite a week. I've had an educational week. His smile thinned. Oh? I've been learning about equipment failures. Oxygen modules? Generators. The kind that kill people. His expression did not change. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious crime. He leaned closer. His voice dropped. You owe me silence. She met his gaze. I owe the people who stopped breathing the truth. He straightened. His hand moved to his pocket. He pulled out his phone, typed something, and put it away. 30 seconds later, the fire alarm went off. Sprinklers activated. The ballroom erupted into chaos. Guests ran for the exits. Damian Cross disappeared into the crowd. Callista looked for Liam. She could not find him. The alarm was not a drill. Smoke poured from the electrical room. A junction box had been tampered with. Sparks ignited insulation. The fire spread faster than it should have. The sprinklers were not enough. The building evacuation began. Callista moved with the crowd, but the smoke was thicker near the stairwell. She could not see. She could not breathe. Her chest tightened. The old panic clawed at her. She stumbled. She fell. She tried to stand. Her lungs burned. Then hands gripped her shoulders. A voice, low and steady. Breathe through your nose. Pursed lips on the exhale. Stay low. Follow me. Liam. He pulled her to her feet, kept her bent low, guided her through the smoke. His shirt was pressed against her face, dampening the air. He moved like he had done this before, like he had navigated worse. The stairwell door was jammed. He kicked it once, twice. It gave. They staggered into the stairwell. The air was clearer. She coughed, gasped, clung to the railing. Liam's back was against the door. It was hot. Metal-seared fabric. He flinched, but did not move until she was steady. Go, he said. I'll get the others. You're back. Go. She went. Firefighters met her on the 10th floor. She told them there were people still inside. She told them about Liam. They went back up. 30 minutes later, everyone was out. Liam was the last. His shirt was burned through. His back was blistered. Paramedics treated him on the sidewalk. He refused transport. Oliver Grant stood beside him, phone in hand. We got them. Damian's men. Security footage shows them tampering with the panel. Police have them in custody. Callista approached. Liam looked up. His face was streaked with soot. You okay? She almost laughed. You just carried me out of a burning building. And you're asking if I'm okay? You stopped breathing again. Technically, Technically, you saved me again. He shrugged, winced. It's becoming a habit. Vivian Brooks was already drafting the statement. Finn Rogers was on the phone with lawyers. But Callista stopped them both. She walked to the press pool gathered outside. Cameras turned. Microphones extended. She did not wait for questions. She spoke. 2 days ago, I collapsed. I stopped breathing. A janitor saved my life. Yesterday, an employee was electrocuted. The same janitor saved him. Today, a fire was set deliberately to cover up corporate malfeasance. That same janitor pulled me out. His name is Liam Carter. He is a former combat medic. He was discharged under false pretenses after a contractor's equipment failure killed 15 people, including his wife and daughter. That contractor is Damian Cross. Harrington Technologies has worked with Cross Industrial Solutions. We will no longer. We are terminating all contracts. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement. We are establishing a fund to compensate victims of equipment failures tied to Cross Industrial. And we are making CPR and AED training mandatory for every employee overseen by Mr. Carter. The cameras flashed. The questions erupted. Callista did not answer them. She walked back to where Liam Saturday. I should have asked you first. He looked at her. Asked me what? If you wanted the job. What job? Director of Emergency Readiness. You'll design the training programs. You'll make sure what happened to me never happens to anyone else here. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I don't want an office. You don't have to have one. I don't want a title on the door. Fine. I want AEDs on every floor. I want trauma kits in every break room. I want people to know what to do when someone stops breathing. Done. He nodded slowly. Then I'll do it. Damian Cross was arrested that evening. The charges included bribery, evidence tampering, and 15 counts of negligent homicide. The diamond watch was photographed as police led him away in handcuffs. The news cycle ran for a week. Harrington Technologies' stock dipped, then recovered. Investors appreciated the transparency. Employees appreciated the training. The company culture shifted. Not overnight, but steadily. Callista spent 2 weeks recovering. The burns on Liam's back took longer. She visited him in the hospital once. He was sitting up, reading a manual on automated external defibrillators. She brought coffee. He did not drink it. She sat beside the bed. I never thanked you. You don't need to. You gave me my breath back. Twice. You did that. I just reminded you how. She smiled. You keep saying that. Because it's true. She set the coffee down. I'm putting together the first training class. Mandatory for all executives. Will you teach it? If you're in it, I will be. Then yes. The first training session was held in the same conference room where Callista had collapsed. They renamed it. No longer the panic room. Now it was the readiness room. 50 employees attended. Liam stood at the front, calm and quiet, walking them through the steps. Airway. Breathing. Circulation. Compressions. Rescue breaths. AED. Placement. He demonstrated on a mannequin. Callista volunteered to be the first student. She knelt beside the dummy, placed her hands and began compressions. 1, 2, 3. Liam counted with her. The room joined in. 1, 2, 3. The rhythm filled the space. Steady, unshakable. Alive. 3 months later. The rooftop terrace hosted a free CPR class for the public. 60 people attended. Parents, teachers, office workers. Liam and Callista ran the session together. She demonstrated hand placement. He corrected angles. They walked participants through the steps. One man asked, what it felt like to save someone. Liam paused. Then he said, "It feels like you gave them a chance to choose. That's all. A chance." At the end of the session, a woman in her 50s approached. She thanked them. She said her husband had a heart attack last year. No one knew CPR. He did not make it. She said this class would have saved him. Callista felt tears sting her eyes. Liam nodded, said he was sorry for her loss, said he hoped she would teach others. The woman said she would. As the sun set, Callista and Liam stood at the edge of the terrace. The city stretched below them, breathing. Lights flickered on. Cars moved through streets. People lived. People died. People saved each other. Liam reached into his pocket. He pulled out the small bracelet, scorched and melted. He held it for a moment. Then, he set it down on the ledge. He did not throw it. He did not keep it. He just let it go. Callista watched him. "You okay?" He looked at her. "I'm getting there." She smiled. "Me too." They stood together in the quiet. The city breathed. They breathed. And somewhere below, someone was learning to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. The rhythm that pulled people back. The rhythm that reminded them how to live. When panic speaks too loud, let calm be the one who leads.